Hello friends and welcome to The Creative Voice. My name is Elena and today we're going to talk about embodiment. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited that you decided to take this trip with me. First of all, I would like to talk about what I mean about embodiment. Embodiment is the awareness of our physical sensations, is the process that takes us to understand what happens in our body and how do we interpret it? Question mark. So, first of all, as singers, it's very, very important that we are in touch with our own bodies because we never get to see our instrument. This is whether you're a singer or not, but when you sing, you don't see your instrument. You don't see your vocal cords moving. You don't see your diaphragm opening and closing. You don't see your larynx moving up and down. You don't see any of those things. There are a lot of videos and there is a lot of literature about the vocal mechanism. So I encourage you to look into those things and get a little more in touch with actually what happens. But again, as singers, we don't see our instrument. And so what happens when we make a sound? What happens when we feel, oh, I strain my voice? Why does that happen? And how do you feel when something is not sounding right to you or joyful to you? Because that's not really right and wrong, and you know I really believe in that. But what happens is that our muscles and the movement of these muscles that we use for singing are so small, very, very small. And sometimes they're very hard to detect if you don't have a good practice of embodiment and awareness of your physical sensations. We're going to start with a very, very simple exercise. I'm going to say three phrases and I want you to repeat them after me. And I want you to be aware of how you feel in your body while you're saying those things. Please write them on your journal. The first one is, I want to hit that note. Repeat. The second is, I want to reach that note. And lastly, please say, I want to sing that note. Now, with my experience, and it's very clear to me, my experience is that when I say I want to hit, I feel my stomach crunching, like closing, like I'm ready to get hit, basically. And what do? I close. Instead of staying open with my body and let my diaphragm do its work and let my body stay open to also receive music, I'm closing it. When I say I reach, I feel my throat closing. I don't feel it here anymore. I feel it here. I feel this closing of my throat like if I wanted to squeeze something out of it. And I don't like neither of those. And when I say I sing, I feel like this breath of openness, which to me is the place where I want to start from. Now, this is, of course, my experience. So I'm curious to know what is yours. It could be similar, it could be very different. It doesn't really matter. It is your way of receiving these words and how do you interpret them. But I do say to my students when they say, oh, I really want to hit that note, I say, why? What did she do to you? Haha. So think about that. The other piece of information that I would like to share is, well, actually, it's more an encouragement, an invitation to try to start really stay more in touch with your body. I have a series of sensory and senses exercises that you can do. If you're interested in those, write to me. Please find me on my website and I will send you these exercises. But we can experiment with our eyes. So we can experiment with our eyes, the way we look at things, directly, non-directly. Look at things with our eyes closed, so unleashing your imagination. Looking at things like we've seen those things for the first time, and sometimes we do. How do we feel in our body? Then you can work with your listening, of course, using some of the exercises that you are already hopefully doing, which includes how many things can you hear? How many things can you listen to? What if you only focus on one sound? What if you heard the sound for the first time? How would you feel? What does it feel in your body? Where? Does it feel in your heart, in your stomach, in your throat, in your mind, in your ears? How does that feel? Then, of course, there is the awareness of the touch. Whatever, even things that you're wearing, how do they feel in your body? Do they feel warm, soft, itchy, cool? All of those things, whatever you eat. Imagine eating something very different, like something sweet, something bitter, something sour, etc. Cold, hot, all the adjectives that you can find around food. And smell as well. So you can cover all the 5 senses and just pay attention. Be aware of it. That's all you need to do. Just pay attention. This is very, very important because when we sing, we do feel physical sensations, but many times we don't pay attention to them. Mostly when we start straining our voices. Because what is important to me is that your voice can be sang as long as you wish for. Unfortunately, there are many singers that are really fantastic, but they strained their voice so many times that they had to get surgeries. And starting with really feeling and focusing on kindness toward yourself, it's really the first step to a healthy voice. Anytime you feel any kind of stress in your body, remember what happens. Your brain is gonna close your throat. And so it's gonna make it harder for you to sing. Imagine you wanna lift something heavy, right? You start closing your throat right away. You do that gym sound that it's somewhat telling us, okay, this is not really helping my breathing. So you want to probably find another way to lift your weights. So all this work is fundamental to find real joy in your singing. When your body feels good, your voice feels good. And when your body and your body and your voice feel good, you are really bathed with a sensation of wellness, which is what I want for you. This is what I aim to do with you and with all my students, to find joy over perfection and to find freedom over control. So instead of controlling your instrument, start being aware of it. Start to listen really in depth to what happens to it. This is all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao! making kind.